for sure.
Ah, it's okay. He said 1 sec, so I'll wait until. All right, we are live here at Corvettes of Carlisle. At least some of us are at Corvettes of Carlisle. I'm here in my office, which is kind of weird, but this is a strange year, as we all know. And first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for coming out to Corvettes of Carlisle. We truly appreciate it. And those of you that couldn't make it, we certainly understand. It's a strange year. This pandemic has put a damper on all of us, and certainly respect your decision for not coming out if you didn't come out. But nevertheless, I am thankful to have Tachometer here, along with Harlan Charles. And rather than me go over their titles, I've asked them to do it because of the fact I believe everybody out there has seen various articles about title changes and what have you. But I think it's better that they say that directly versus me try and give titles. So Taz, if you'd like to start.
Sure, I'll start. Yeah, it's kind of a coincidence that right before Carlisle this year, there was a pretty major organizational announcement inside General Motors. The big news for Corvette is that it doesn't really change anything that we're doing on Corvette. So what we're doing is my boss, the organization I work for, the whole Corvette team, lock, stock, and barrel, is moving from one part of the organization to the other. So all the engineers, all the players that everybody's familiar with on Corvette stay together as a Corvette team. I get a new supervisor. That's all it is. That supervisor happens to also own all of our future battery electric vehicles. So the thinking there is that, battery electric vehicles, one of the things they struggle with is having a really exciting, joyful, dynamic driving experience. The character that comes across, this kind of the heart and soul of Corvette, the thing that, makes people love to drive it. And so some of the thinking is, why not get the Corvette team, get some of that to rub off on future BEVs? So as part of that, we are making slight organizational changes. Harlan and I keep our jobs exactly, although we'll have additional responsibility trying to help out on some BEV programs. But we're going to actually move our the C8 chief engineer, his name is Ed Piatek. He's actually going to take on a lead role defining future products. And having been on Corvette 7.5 years, he's a perfect person to help get some level of Corvette-ness, some of that really joy of driving, that whole ownership experience. How would you or could you apply that to battery electric vehicles? So bottom line is that the C8 plan that we have made up a long time ago and have been executing, we've introduced the Stingray coupe and convertible. There'll be ongoing announcements as we go through the life cycle. None of that has changed. I've seen the rumors out there that, we're gonna do nothing but electric vehicles after the Stingray. That's not true. Our planned models and the V8 hearts will beat in them as we had planned for the C8 generation. So a lot of exciting stuff planned. It's coming and will not be tampered with by this organizational move. One of the great things about it is because it's actually kind of an expanded role for our team. It's really a feather in our cap and a sign that the leadership of the company really respects what the Corvette has done over the last couple generations, really. They're expanding our role, and so that lets me help Ed get into a responsibility where he can have great authority, doing some real driver's cars amongst the BEVs. And it lets us promote somebody named Josh Holder, who's been program engineering manager on the program forever. Basically, Josh has done fantastic work supporting the program in ways that people can't even imagine. It allows us to promote him to be an executive now. So he will be a chief engineer on Corvette, basically overseeing that C8 plan that we had made and will continue to support.
Josh is awesome. Well, I'm glad I didn't try to answer that. Harlan, they're asking me, can you take your screen down just for the time being? Apparently they can't see us, but they see a Corvette logo, so that's good. And then you can start, there's a presentation coming up, so that's the reason we have that going. I think people want to see our pretty faces. Oh, look, there's Taj. So
I'd rather look at the cross flags. So let me just finish up. So my title essentially doesn't change. I'm executive chief engineer for Corvette, global Corvette. So we're going to sell Corvettes all around the world. I will have Josh Holder reporting to me, focus exclusively on continuing the execution for the C8 Corvette. And I will have Ed Piatek looking at future programs all across the whole bandwidth of what could we do around future products.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That's it really clarifies a lot. As I told you guys, it's certainly out there on the internet, as you well have seen. So that helps. Thanks, Ted.
Yes.
And Harlan, you're down there in Florida, right?
Yeah, Kennedy Space Center. Now it's a nice backdrop. One of my favorites when we introduced the convertible there last year. But you know, I'm still the Corvette product manager for Chevrolet. Have Camaro too, as well. And hurts me that I'm not there with you this year, Lance. This would have been my 20th year in a row.
You're here. You're in spirit. We know
So I'm there, but being the Corvette product manager at Carlisle and seeing all the great customers and friends that I've met over the years there, sure is always nice to see people. So hopefully next year we'll have to start another string of 20 more.
We should have asked for a picture of the stage at Carlisle, and we use that as our backdrop, because that's usually is our real physical backdrop. Right. We could have virtually.
Yeah, it would have felt so real. There you go.
There you go.
Well, cool.
Very
I
natural.
You have a presentation to go through and kind of, educate everybody here at Carlisle of, the up and coming and what we have now currently, which I can tell you everybody loves, because we are doing a sweepstakes for the Chip Miller Amyloidosis Foundation. I was telling Taj earlier, Harlan, and everybody is crowding around the car. It's hilarious. It's actually, I get out of it, I feel like a rock star. So you guys did a bang up job. So on that note, if you want to start up with the presentation, that'd be great.
All right, cool.
We got a few things to go through, and yeah, I'll echo the sentiment. It's always, we were actually really looking forward to this year at Carlisle. Last year we were there with a handful of cars, pre-production cars. There was a huge excitement around it, but nothing beats seeing people with their actual cars. So we've built over 8,000 cars now, and so lots of customers have their vehicles, and we're in spite of the headwinds, nobody predicted either the strike last fall or the pandemic this spring. We've had massive headwinds, but we are building every car we can as fast as we can, assuring good quality, because people are, understandably upset they've had to wait for such a long time, but trust us, we want to build as many as we can, and we're doing our best efforts to do just that. And it would have been great to be standing there face to face with everybody, see their cars, talk about what they like about them, talk about if they have suggestions for improvement. We're all ears about that as well. So that's what always makes it a great event. So this is very odd. Harlan and I are kind of used to doing the summer tour, going to different Corvette events and talking to customers. So we're doing a few of those virtually this year. It's just not the same when everybody out there is on mute. You can't hear the voices, you can't hear the laughter. Everybody knows we're hilariously funny, and it's great to hear that feedback with everybody laughing in the audience. You just don't get any of that doing it virtually. So that's unfortunate. So we'll run through, Harlan, I'll take turns running through a few things that might be of general interest. So, we've started building and delivering cars. We've made almost a clean sweep of all the automotive awards, the big ones, really last year as the vehicle was revealed. So you can see Car of the Year there, and Automobile All-Stars, Car and Driver 10 Best. Pretty much the who's who of award givers sought to give us an award for this car. Not just sports car, but for any type of car. So we're really, really proud of that. Next slide. I think we have some other new ones you might not have heard about. Digital Trends, Best Convertibles for 2020. And we've just started shipping convertibles. I can tell you myself, I wasn't always a convertible guy. I always liked the coupes. This convertible was a game changer. And a lot of us on the team feel that way. We were previously definitely coupe fans. Now we have a huge number of convertible fans. It's just such an amazing product, and here it is recognized right out of the box.
Actually, I was going to add, one of the first convertibles, one of our buddies, Al Fuller, was at Carlisle. That video is going viral, that he's showing everybody how the top works. People are just freaking out about it, how cool it is. to work the top, and he's showing how to work with the remote and all that.
He's having fun.
Yeah.
He loves it, by the way.
Yeah, he's having a lot of fun. Beautiful rapid blue convertible with the blue interior.
Yeah, I tell people, you know, there's almost no drive that's too short not to put the top down. It's just so much fun to put it down and put it back up. You can make a fantastic entrance or exit with these giant panels swinging out of the way. You really give people the impression that you're from the future when you arrive, and the car folds itself as you arrive. It's really, it's very effective. It's very fun to do.
It's very exotic look too. Very, you know, even top up, you know, as a coupe, it has an exotic look to it.
Yeah, there's no step back on appearance, you know, the kind of old school canvas tops. You don't have that anymore. It looks every bit as good as the coupe. So next slide. So here's an article from the Wall Street Journal just came out. Dan Neal is one of the most respected automotive journalists in the world. He actually won a Pulitzer Prize. You can't say that about many automotive journalists. And his top line is, "Oh my God, the 2020 Corvette Stingray Z51 is fantastic. I don't think I can take many more surprises this year. The hand-wrapped leather interior included in the 3LT package rivals anything in Lambo's supply chain. I couldn't be more taken off my feet if GM CEO Mary Barra knocked on my door offering to mow my lawn." That's probably not going to happen. The Stingray's anatomy resembles that of a Ferrari 488 GTB, and I would take issue with that. It's true, we have an aluminum core, but we're actually more exotic because we do composites on the exterior. The Ferrari is almost an all aluminum car. We do a mixed materials solution, and composites are actually a bit upscale versus the metallic aluminum. So, but taking all things in balance, the Chevy beats the snot out of it. So I've talked to a lot of customers. We've done some of these events where people who actually have received their vehicle kind of can't help but chime in and validate our claims. A lot of times when you introduce a new car, and everybody does this, they make all these claims for how great it's going to be. And in this case, we're getting tons of customer feedback that it's exactly what we promised. People get in it and they love it for every way they would use a car. Next slide, Harlan. So Paul Stanley's a big fan. He tweeted out he got his car. He's a front man for KISS, and as you can see, he and Harlan have the same hairstylist. So he said, for years, the auto industry had said, buy American. And I said, when you manufacture world-class cars, I buy them. For me, the 2020 Corvette C8 is beyond that. It raises the bar with cutting edge technology. It's a machine I'm proud to drive, and it's drop dead gorgeous. I love mine. So here's a guy who could afford anything. And this is what he chose to buy. And I've seen
before Lance was saying, you know, we drive, you know, that car makes you into a rock star, and there you go. There's proof.
Yeah, Rockstar wants the car. But
Right.
I saw some, you know, customers commenting, or maybe not customers, but people on the internet commenting, oh, he probably didn't even pay for his. They probably just gave it to him. So he would say about it. That is not true. We don't want to give these cars away. We want to sell them to people who are going to buy them. So he paid for his full price, just like everybody else. So it's not a paid for commercial. Next slide. So just hit another milestone just recently. The 1.75 millionth Corvette came off the line, August 14th, 2020. I can remember pretty clearly the millionth was a pretty big deal. It happened right before I joined Corvette in 1993. So that was 1992. And then I remember the 1.5 millionth, that was in 2009.
Yeah. That fell in the same hole.
Yeah.
Actually, both of them
made it
did.
a white car.
Yeah.
And we tend to do this. We make it a white car with a red interior, you know, in honor of the 53 run of 300 cars, all white with red interior. So we bring back that heritage. That car is going to the museum. Is going to be raffled off here, coming right up Friday, September 4th. So some lucky winner is going to get that car, a huge milestone in our history.
Yeah,
Next
Museum was
slide.
saying it was one of our record raffle sellouts for this one.
That's great. That's great. Can't wait to see who wins it. Speaking of the museum, there was recently a USA Today kind of a contest, award ceremony for the best attractions for car lovers. And number one, the National Corvette Museum. So those of you who have been there know it's a great place. There's been a lot of upgrades. And I don't know, Harlan, you want to talk about some of the things they've done down there? It's actually pretty cool.
Well, the neat thing down there is they have the new the mid-engine history exhibit that was created at GM Design has been transported down there, and they have also on display. They've acquired the two-rotor concept that was done in the early '70s, one of the early mid-engine concepts down there as well. And then Tom Peters has contributed to the Big Daddy Roth, rat fink kind of thing for the other extreme. There's an exhibit on that as well. So worth anybody. They're open, so if people willing to travel, they're open for business, and they have the anniversary event next weekend.
Yeah. Thanks, Harlan. Okay. Next slide.
All right, I'll talk about this a little bit. We show these charts are, this is the luxury sports car segment that we compete in. And even with some of the things that Taj talked about, we've gone through with the COVID shutdown and, the plant was down for a while. Even with all that, still number one in the segment. And it's only going to grow now that we're able to build cars in full production. So exciting to see we're maintaining that, and it's only going to grow from here.
Yeah, I would say our sales are completely capacity limited. We sold as many as we could build. We could have probably, if we could have built 4 times as many, we could have sold 4 times as many quite easily.
Right.
The competitors are in there. That's just kind of the free market expression. They're not launching. They could build a lot more cars than what they're showing there. So our volumes are really understated just because we've been down so much because of the various reasons.
Right. And a lot of people are always interested in how the colors are doing. The torch red, the car looks great in torch red, obviously, and that was kind of our lead car where we did the reveal, and it's doing the best. Also, Arctic white and black always do well. You can see the Sebring, the blue, the new Rapid Blue is doing well as also. So a pretty good spread there for the colors. On the interior, where black usually the most popular, we see a lot of adrenaline red, a lot of natural doing well. And then one of the new things we did this year were the seatbelt color options. You see those are doing really well. Another way to personalize your Corvette interior.
Yeah, I'm driving a yellow convertible right now with a black interior with yellow stitch, and it has yellow seat belts in it. And it's amazing how many times people just freak out at how cool just having a yellow belt is.
Yeah.
It's not something in other cars.
Yep, I have the yellow belts too in my white car. I agree. So let's talk about racing a little bit. This was a cool picture that actually is done a little while ago by Richard Prince, showing all 8 generations of Corvette racing in one shot. I thought that's always really cool. And then if you've been following Corvette racing, since we restarted again, we're 4 for 4 wins in a row. All of them happen a little bit different ways. We had one in the rain. We had one where the lead car had a tire issue. But the Corvette team with consistency, never give up. We're always there at the end, so it's a pretty good string to have 4 victories in a row. And actually, the first of the 4 was the first for the new race cars. We produced this cool advertisement, moving the engine back, push the Corvette forward, that ran for a little bit. So a lot of exciting things happening now that Corvette racing is back. I think the next race is in Road Atlanta, September 4th to 6th. Okay, coming up. And so hopefully we get they made some changes to the schedule. That Charlotte one is a new one in October. And then Sebring has moved to the end, the 12-hour Sebring race has moved to the end of the year. So hopefully we'll get through all the race schedule and keep the winning tally going. Also, you may have noticed, if anybody's watching the race, some of the pace cars, we actually did 2 special pace cars, one for the IMSA races for Corvette racing. And the idea that these is design utilized accessories that were either available or ones that will be available coming up later in the year to promote those and use these on the actual pace cars so that you could replicate some of what's being shown here, like the new Jake Stinger stripe on the hood is coming soon, and of course ground effects and the high wings are kind of becoming back available soon. And if you watch the Indy 500, of course, also pacing the race for the first time, an 8th generation Corvette driven by Mark Royce paced the Indy 500 by our president. All right, so let's go over what's new for 2021.
So I can start. You know, it would have been the easiest thing in the world to just not do anything new for 21 because the car is new and hot and we didn't really need to do anything new, but you know us, we're always trying to add new stuff that customers will find interesting and different. And so 21 is no exception. So second year out of the box, we have some pretty fun stuff for you. You can see a list of it here, but I'll go through the items individually. I'll do the functional changes and then Harlan can talk about the appearance stuff that's new. So first is FE2. We're bringing back FE2. So basically completing our suite of transmission or suspension offerings. It's unusual for a car to have 4 different suspension options, but we know people really like to customize their vehicles. And so we're adding FE2. For people who don't know that, that's putting the world-renowned magnetic selective ride control feature on the standard suspension. So you still get the all-season tires. You get a very compliant, very nice riding car, still very sporty, still close to 1G cornering, but now with the addition of MR, as we call it for short, the magnetorheological shocks, you get a lot more authority and control over the suspension. So when you choose your different ride modes, now you can really feel the shocks tie the car down or loosen it up to float over the road with great comfort. You know, this lets you get into that technology without having to spring for Z51. You know, if you're not going to track your car, but you still want to have that adjustable suspension, here's a way to get it at much lower cost than putting it on top of the Z51. So 4 different suspension choices for folks. Next slide. So we're doing wireless phone projection. I know people are not, nobody likes to clutter up their Corvette. Nobody wants a bunch of wires hanging around all over the place. And it's kind of a pain to plug them in and take them out, and where do you store them? So wireless phone projection, so connecting the car wirelessly is a great deal. We're doing it both for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So you don't have to put the phone anywhere. You can just leave it in your pocket or your purse. Or what I like to do is put it in the phone charger behind the seats. So that little slot is shown in the lower right-hand corner. You can stick your phone in there, and it's amazing. You know, it's a wireless charger. It's amazing how fast it'll charge. Even on short drives, you can really charge up your phone really quickly, and also have all the access to the functionality through CarPlay and Android Auto. Next slide. This was an idea we had as we were putting together all the different modes on the car. So we got more modes than anybody could ever want, you know, between weather, tour, sport, track. And then we also have My Mode and Z Mode. There's all these ways to configure the car. And people are always asking, you know, exactly what changes and by how much. And you can go into the main menu in the center stack and set it up. And it gives you all the choices, but we thought it'd be nice to show it more graphically, more visually. So for each mode, you can see for steering, suspension, the engine shift patterns, the brake feel, the engine sound or exhaust sound, even the PTM setting. We wanted to show graphically where you were in each mode, so you can get information back on what the mode is as set by the factory, or you can go in and set it yourself very easily, depending on whether you want more or less aggressive in each of those attributes, whether you're setting up my mode or Z mode. We think it'll make it a lot easier. And then if you look at down at the bottom, when you're in PTM, you can see down there, it shows you which PTM mode you are in the cluster. So you see Z mode at the bottom center of the cluster. You can see the PTM mode down there as well. So you get that constant feedback if you're on track, and you can get confirmation that you're in the mode you thought you wanted to be in. So just a little improvement year over year for that one. Next slide.
Hold on.
Is that working, Harlan?
Oh, wait. There we go. There
I
we
see
go.
the video going. Okay. The other little video probably doesn't come through too well on the internet and our streaming. Another little thing is a different kind of tack. Actually choose the tack you want, whether you want a digital tack, because a lot of people like digital information. The tack has always been sort of the last place we would use it because the engine RPM changes so fast. But with a reconfigurable display, it makes it essentially no compromise to let customers pick whatever they like. So you can have kind of a continuous sort of analog looking tack as we provide in the different modes with different configurations. But if you want in the track mode, you can have that information rendered digitally to you. There's also a video down there, but it's probably not coming through very cleanly. But it's pretty fun to see how fast the engine responds because you get that digital feedback.
Well, this is a new interior we've added for 2021. And I don't think we've really showed this before, to my knowledge, a nice image of it. This is called Strike Yellow with Sky Cool Gray. And we've combined the Sky Cool Gray with this real striking yellow accent package to it. It's available with the 3LT leather wrapped interior. And it really is a different look, something we haven't done before. And like, for a lot of cars, if you want that, maybe match this up with the yellow brake calipers as well, you could really have like a nice yellow accent package for the interior and the exterior. So it is available, 3LT, this is the GT2 seats. You can also get it with the competition seats, optional as well. And they also has the yellow accents on the seats. So just another cool interior that we're doing, just the design, just to new combination, new way to personalize your Corvette. And then on the exterior, we have shown the two new colors for the exterior. We have the silver flare, which replaces the blade silver. Blade silver was out for quite a while, since '09. This silver really has what they call a lot of travel. So as you walk around the car, and in the sun, you can really see it change shade as you walk around it. So it has a lot of activity. And it really is an all new silver for Corvette.
Yeah, I would say that it's really hard to convey in pictures, that silver. The bright parts are really bright, and where it's shadowed or darker, it's really dark. So it really accentuates the contours of the car. That's my impression of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually the first saleable 2021 car built, I think it's just coming offline pretty shortly, is this new flare, silver flare, combined with the new interior, the Sky Cool Gray Strike Yellow. So that's going to be a really neat car for the 2021 VIN1, and it's a convertible. The other new color we have is Red Mist Tint Coat, which replaces the Long Beach Red. And we've had a string of red tint coats. This one is really fiery and bright. And it's named after, when you're on the track and you're driving 10 tenths and you get that red mist. Lance, this is the way Lance drives all the time. And so we kind of owe it to a little bit to him, the name there. But actually, it is a really beautiful color on the car, and a lot of people are looking forward to seeing this one. I think the second car we're building is actually this color.
Yeah, I've seen some of the panels now painted down in Bowling Green. And this is another one that's hard to take a picture of. This is the picture that's closest to showing the luster, the vibrancy of it. It's very different than the sort of candy apple reds that some people thought were a little muted, maybe more maroon-like. This one has incredible passion and fire into it. I think it's kind of a new color space for us. I'm very excited about it personally.
And isn't that what you ordered, Taj, for your car?
Yeah, for my car with a natural interior. Can't wait.
So this is our full palette for 21. We maintained the 12 colors, so the other favorites are still around. And then the other new thing that we've done is some new graphics packages. So this one, if you don't go for the full racing stripes and you want something that's a little more subtle, we have these new hood stinger stripe packages, red with carbon flash, edge yellow, and midnight silver. Just adds a nice accent to the hood. And these are new and they are installed at the factory. And then we've expanded the existing racing stripes, added 4 new colors for these. So we have the new edge red, edge blue, orange, and yellow. So 4 additional racing stripe colors. And then here's kind of a fun chart just to show all the different types, because we have now a total of 7 racing stripes, and this is designs, and you have to memorize this. This is designs recommendations for each of the exterior colors. But no, it's just fun to see all the different possible combinations that you could create and really personalize your Corvette if you like that racing stripe look.
Yeah, it's practically endless for all practical purposes, the number of combinations you can do.
Yeah. And so that's what's new for 21. And I think I'll go back to the normal mode. Let's see. Stop sharing.
There's Lance.
Boom.
Now we're back.
So I guess we'll go into questions. The funny thing is, as you guys were presenting, we had a storm, so I had it on mute, so you didn't hear that. But you can hear just engines nonstop, like roar, roar. Everybody's like rolling out. But the good thing is, being virtual, they can play it over and over, and at the same time, their capability is to do it on the app. So we have Carlisle Events app, so people are watching it, at home that way as well. So, nevertheless, so the people that aren't stuck in the rain outside, we're inside. That's virtually a good thing. Look at us. We finally pulled something off right. So on that note, I think an easy way to segue into questions would be, you guys get questioned all the time. What's a common question, that you already know people are going to ask and answer? So go for it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
A common question is, where's my car and why don't I have it yet? I think.
Right.
That's
When's the
probably the
Z06
number one.
out?
Yeah, that's another common one. And like Tad said, we're going to build as many as we can, and we actually extending the 20 model year a little bit. And then what we're also doing, the 21 ordering is open. So if you didn't get a chance to get your 20, make sure you order early and often to get a 2021 as soon as you can.
Good to know. And then I had my interesting question for you guys. It's an easy one because it's more of a personable angle. I talked to Tash earlier. He told me, but Harlan, I don't think you were on yet. But what was your first car?
My first car was an 82 Camaro with a 6-cylinder and a 4-speed manual. And I thought I was king of the road, man. 102 horsepower or whatever it had. I didn't care. It was a cool car. That was the new body for 82. That was the new 3rd gen Camaro. It really was a beautiful car, still is.
Oh, it is. They're great cars.
Yeah.
And Taj, go ahead. You can one-up them here.
I don't know if it's a 1-up or a 1-down. My first car was a 1964 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. So that was in the waning era of fins. It still had some pretty healthy fins on it. It was gold. My family used it as kind of a travel car. We had 4 kids in my family, and my dad built this like plywood platform in the back seat, and all 4 kids just sat back there in a big pig pile. You know, there's no seat belts or anything. So I inherited that car after my mom wrapped it around a tree. So it actually didn't run. And they threw me the keys and said, if you can fix it, it's yours. I couldn't fix it. So I took it apart. I took it completely apart in the driveway. It just made a terrible mess, but everything, including dissecting the transmission, everything was just a big pile of parts until we had to get a wrecker to come in and haul the thing away. It was such an eyesore. So I guess that was my first non-driving vehicle. My first driving vehicle I inherited from my father. I was partway through college. I needed a car. My dad was getting rid of a car he had. It was actually a Mazda RX-2. It was one of the early Mazda Wankel engined cars. It was a manual transmission. And it was a pretty fun car. No torque, but it would spin to 8,000. It was pretty fun. It was a very good college car for me. It didn't last very long, but it was fun while it lasted.
That's
I
cool.
will say, I want to add one more thing. You know, here in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, so people will know Drexel University in Philadelphia. My 82 Camaro met its demise at Drexel University. It was gone, and we found just basically the shell of it later, stolen and stripped.
No way. Wow.
Very devastated. But then I just bought an 84 Z28 to make up for it after that.
Nice. Good shit. I like how you roll, Harlan.
And just, you know what? Just go big. Just go bigger.
That's right. I had a Pontiac Fiero GT. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He had one. Mary and I bought one of those for our wedding. I had a Chevy Citation. She had a competitive brand that was needed a piston ring job. It was actually a Honda. It was spewed blue smoke all over the neighborhood every time she started it. So right when we got married, when we knew we were getting married in '84, and so we said, why don't we sell both our cars and we'll get this Fiero. It was actually an SE. It wasn't a GT, but in red, we were hot stuff.
Nice. I like it. See that? Fiero buddies.
Right.
I like it. And I'm telling those guys they can text me with any questions they might have. So I'm kind of waiting on that. But, you know, as filler, there's always stuff we can talk about, guys. What are you looking forward to most next year to accomplish? Come on, there's got to be something big in the works.
Well, I
Well, you
think
know, yeah.
we're looking forward to getting full production we're ramping up and seeing more customers get their cars. I know everybody's waiting and the reactions of that. I'm really looking forward to the convertible that's just been introduced and the reaction that's going to get. I think we're going to see an unprecedented amount of convertibles once people get some exposure to it. Personally, that's my favorite. I would totally get the convertible for myself because I like to do a lot of road trips, all over the country. And the neat thing about it, you can have all your luggage, everything in the car. Say you're 1,000 miles from home or further, and get that in Michigan. You drive down south, you finally cross the Florida state line, and it's warm enough. You drop the top. You don't have to rearrange any luggage, any partitions, anything, and you just keep going on your way, and you can enjoy the open air and the weather. And you can also get the engine sound is even better in a convertible. And you can just open that rear window on its own and to get more engine sound in there or ventilation. It's just I just love the convertible. I can't say enough.
Yeah, I started by saying I've become a convert to the convertible. It's amazing, and it is so flexible the ways you can use it. The other thing Carlin mentioned, ramping up production, we're putting on second shift, so we've kind of gotten our feet under us, gotten the muscle memory going on first shift. We've established that. We've actually been working overtime on first shift, and so we're actually onboarding and we'll shortly start our second shift production, and so that'll ramp up very quickly. So we'll go to nearly double the volume assuming the whole supply community can handle it. We're going to push as many cars out as we can. So a lot of that training is going on right now, but people are onboarded and ready to go for second shift.
The other thing that's exciting in the future is going to be the international rollout. I mean, we're on sale, you know, in North America, and the Middle East is just getting started, but we have Japan coming up, and then we're going to have Europe and Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia. So we're going to have, over the next year or so, we're going to see all the international reaction to the car, which is going to be real exciting.
And Japan is the start of the right-hand drive. That's been a dream of ours forever, you know, since Corvette started. You know, it turned into kind of a global nameplate, and we were trying to sell it all around the world, but we really didn't feel like we were fully committed in all countries until we could do a right-hand drive. So in the UK and Australia, Japan, that's going to make a huge difference. And it's a fully realized right-hand drive. So it's not like some conversion or something. We actually tooled up all the mirror image parts. So you get all that driver-focused infotainment and the whole IP and the surrounding interior, that sort of glove fit that is such a nice place to drive. The right-hand drive just gets all of that on the other side of the car. I think it really feels like we're committed now. And there was a little bit of a scare when General Motors announced that we're pulling out, you know, Holden is being closed in Australia. And so a bunch of people knew that we said we were coming to Australia. They probably thought, oh, that plan's in jeopardy, but no, we do have a way to import the cars along with other vehicles like trucks, where we actually do the conversion to right-hand drive, but Corvette will be from the factory, right-hand drive, imported into Australia. I know they've been waiting for, you know, 67 years to get this.
I remember a couple of years ago at Carlisle, there was a group from Australia, Corvette Club.
Two separate groups from Australia.
Yeah. And they, you know, and we get that from every time we see them, and finally it'll be great. They can get their cars now.
Yeah, we've had a few of them reach out already and say they couldn't make it this year due to the obvious pandemic. So we're grateful they come out and visit us. I know, like, Puerto Rico always comes out. It's just cool. We're fortunate.
We usually get a European group too.
Yeah, always, which is great. We welcome everybody and anybody for that matter. So, and it's great. It's good to hear. I know that there's a lot of interest out there. I know a lot of people have ordered their cars and they're just so anxious, and it's like we're all little kids again, you know, which is exciting. You just get pumped up. It's like right before Christmas or whatever it might be. I did receive a question for you guys. It's saying, asking you more about your experience, what it was like last year to unveil, you know, the car essentially at Corvettes of Carlisle. So what was the experience for you?
Last year was a kind of a blur for me, between the, you know, going from heads down, quiet, not admitting to anything, to kind of openly sharing the story with everybody, and then seeing the world's reaction to it, and then understanding the magnitude both of what we had done and what we had to do, because we revealed the car before we had the car up and running and ready for sale. So we had to finish the work, get the plant ready, onboard everybody there. Then we had to weather the strike. So, okay, what do you do while the UAW is on strike? How can we continue to make progress in doing the things we need to do? How can the suppliers react? You know, because the suppliers have put a huge investment into getting ready for this car. Now, all of a sudden, we're not making them. And then we just get rolling again, and the pandemic hits. And that didn't just affect us, General Motors, that affected every country that we get parts from. You know, we get parts from all over the world, and our suppliers do too. And so they're all affected in different ways. So as countries reopen, as governments let people go back to work, that's a complicated story. We can't just leave 5% of the parts out of any given Corvette. We have to have every single part in order to have the whole car come off the line. So that puts a huge strain. We're only as capable as our least capable supplier. And so that's a huge logistics challenge. You know, we have a huge safety ethos in General Motors for our own employees, as well as employees at suppliers around the world. And so no one was willing to do anything that would put people in risk or force people into positions that they were not comfortable in. And so it's been a gradual process of understanding the local situations, the safety protocols that are required, both for them, for us. And so as we got our feet under us, we're able to, crawl, walk, run, and we're getting ready to sprint and get as many of these cars offline as possible.
Great.
Well, to me, the reveal event was like a life moment. I mean, it was like a historic moment, something, Taj and I, we've been working on this, dream of the mid-engine. Of course, there's a Zora story, but the more recent story was since about 2005, trying to get all the approval processes in the company, and then getting it finally to the point where we're allowed to talk about it. And was very confident that people would love it, but just to see that actually happen, and actually even above and beyond the mid-engine Corvette being that secret, the biggest secret we had, I thought, in the company was the price of the car, because a lot of people said, okay, yeah, they might build a car like that, but it's going to be like, $200,000 or $150,000. And that was a secret even within the company itself. Only people very close to the team even knew. So even though there was a lot of internal people and family members at the reveal, when Mark Royce announced, he said the under $60,000, the gasps that went out, and the reaction, and the look around, the people are like, that, the unbelievable, and how we really have changed. It's really a sports car. We've changed the market. It's one that I think that only we could do on our Corvette team. I don't think anybody else could execute a car like this that has all the Corvette attributes plus the exotic mid-engine attributes combined into one. And to see that actually finally get to be shown was a big thing. And now, like Taj was talking about, now that we're in production and seeing customers get their cars and the reactions that they're having, even some of the customers you talk to that were maybe not all in at first when they first heard about the idea, but now that they saw the execution, now they bought the car and they just love it. They think that's the best Corvette we've ever done by far.
And it is.
Yeah, it's a testament to Harlan's commitment to secrecy that his own wife, Mai, let go with an